Yes, please. So Mohanji, this is something which, a lot of participants attend directly, but also a lot of them see directly on the YouTube channel of.
So we are live now. I'm admitting
perfect.
people.
Okay? Yeah, please.
So who's going? Should I wait?
Yeah, just a minute, Mohanji. I'm waiting. Other participant may want to join as well, and then I'll just proceed.
Sure.
Okay, all right. So I'll just begin. Welcome everyone. So just a brief introduction about the concept of the entrepreneurship Gyan, as we always do, for the beginning of the session. So I joined recently as the lead, and I started leading the startup and entrepreneurship special interest group of IT Mumbai Alumni Association, which was already being taken care of by Praveen ji. And I already had this idea last year to do this kind of thing as a podcast, but then I pitched him, maybe we can do as a part of this SIG, and he liked the idea, and we decided to move forward with it. And the idea is that we create a platform where we invite, veteran entrepreneurs, speakers, business leaders to, inspire young entrepreneurs, but also, cross-country collaboration. Also, create a platform where, people can look for different entrepreneurial opportunities. We can invite academicians who can talk about the academic aspect, as we did in the previous talk. So in this regard, today we have, Professor Dr. Mohan Agarwal with us, and now I will invite Venu to formally introduce Mohanji. Yeah.
Thank you, Weber. So, welcome everyone. Today's session, we have our guest, who is Dr. Mohan Agarwal, who is the president of Indo-Gulf Management Association in UAE. He is an in-demand corporate trainer with plethora of clients, including the Tata Group, Birla Group, Reliance Group, NTPC, ONGC, GAIL, Bosch, in India, China, and Japan, Emirates, NBD Bank, Landmark Dubai, and multiple other organizations and central banks to name a few. His work spans across multiple countries: India, USA, Canada, Mexico, UK, Portugal, China, UAE, and so on. He's an award-winning management faculty and has taught in leading B schools across different countries across the globe. He teaches most experientially using stimuli research cases and has published about 100 research papers and cases in international journals, conferences, and forums. So I think with the plethora of experience, Mohanji, we welcome you, and we are certain we learn a lot from your experience and vast knowledge. So welcome to the show, and the session is all of yours. Thank you.
Please go ahead.
So I'm on?
Yes, you can share. You can share your screen and
Thank
just.
You very much. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. So am I audible? Am I visible?
Yes, you are audible, you are visible, please go ahead. Yeah.
And the screens are also sharing,
yes,
right?
Perfectly. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bavav. Thank you, Venu. Thank you, many others who are not known to me, but I'm sure they have worked for this organization, which is obviously a great organization, Alumni Association of IIT Bombay. When Venu is standing in front of Salesji Mehta Business School of IIT, I feel very proud and very happy because that is the place I have visited number of times. And the director of that is very well known to me, as well as many other professors. And really, you are a pride of India. You are a pride of many people in this country who are not even knowing what IIT is, but they know what IIT does or IIT brand. So I think, you have the kind of brand equity, which many countries, many organizations can only dream of. And, you see it because you bring laurels, you bring the kind of awe, the respect that goes into it. And it is the alumni which makes the difference. Today, if you see any organization, or especially business school or IT school, or for that matter, any higher education system, they are measured by two strengths. Strength number one is how it is accepting the students to their programs. And number two, how well their alumni are doing outside that particular organization. Now, so both input and output or even outcome have become measures of the ranking, rating, or respect, choice, any word that you may like to use for that particular higher education. So today I am especially honored to be here. When Vaibhav told me the things that you guys are doing, I was absolutely inspired because I am myself a startup. From that point of view, although mine is not 100% full commitment startup, but it is a startup in the sense that this Indo-Gulf Management Association is doing many things which are in the same category of startup. And also I teach startup to the MBA courses, to executive classes, to various countries that very kindly Venu mentioned from my profile. And I appreciate each and every student whom I had the interaction with in all these 20 countries where I have been teaching, especially at my favorite organization, XLRI Jamshedpur, and also IIT, and also IIM Lucknow, where I was chair professor of management. And the topic global startups is extremely important for us to know, because in this world where LPG is dominating us, that is liberalization, privatization, globalization, when these three things are there right from the beginning in our dictionary, in our lexicon, then I believe that most of the startups are born global. They are not global by work, but they are by birth itself. They are global because they usually have things which are attractive to people outside the country where they are set up. And very soon they actually get that global scaling or that global connections or that global collaborations. So I thought, let me connect that thought with the Gulf where we are. Gulf is a very, very large term which is used in this manner. So the agenda, just to share with you that the agenda will be like this, that I will be talking about the evolving landscape of the GCC. I'll explain the term GCC in a few seconds. The second is my definition of startups as how I see it. The third is opportunities for startups in the Gulf. And I divided them into two categories: outward opportunities and inward opportunities. Outward opportunities will be that where your startups will be useful to us, to the Gulf where I'm talking from. And inward opportunity, would be that where people from the Gulf will also like to reach out to you and be a part of your dream, be a part of your success, be a part of learning. So both outward and inward opportunities will be spoken about. And then, of course, the Q&A. The Q&A is not just like that, it is at any time. Just raise your hands and I will be very happy to handle that question at that particular time itself. So the GCC is a term for what is known as Gulf Cooperation Council. It is the same thing as NAFTA, North American Free Trade Association, which had Mexico, USA, and Canada. It was the biggest free trade zone before European Union. And when European became like 30 countries that they are together, then it is the same thing as EU. But EU one is a bigger one because not many countries have the kind of scale and size that USA, Mexico, or Canada has. So therefore, they are bigger than NAFTA. But then this kind of thing is very useful to them. In our Indian context, you could say that SAARC was supposed to be that part of free trade zone where member countries or countries or entrepreneurs of those countries would have a kind of facility in terms of dealing with the opportunities, addressing them, or collaborating with others. But unfortunately, because of geopolitical situations, the SAARC has become more a concept which was very big in the beginning, then it lost some shine, and now I'm not sure even that that particular thing is seen as a viable concept. The one which is, very important in the Asia is the one which is having the 10 countries in it, led by Malaysia, Singapore, and all. And that particular trade area is also very, very useful, well known also. At one time, they had disproportionate power, ASEAN, because of the growth that countries were seeing. But now possibly the growth is slowing down in many countries. But China, which is the observer status, India, which is also the observer status, these two have to some extent taken off the shine from this ASEAN. And as a result, you can say that the only benefit, or at least the major benefit, is to have uniform policies relating to customs of inward as well as outward, so that when you enter into one country, you have entered into all countries. Now, as far as GCC is concerned, GCC has 6 countries in it, and politically and geographically they are close to each other. The biggest one is Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is having a kind of disproportionate importance because of the population, because of the economic clout, and because of the petrodollars that it has. And as a result, it is, you could say, the big brother of GCC. The same way India was perceived to be as big brother, although not all the time people like the term big brother, but still that part is there. The second biggest economy of GCC is United Arab Emirates, where I'm at this particular moment. So you could say number one is Saudi Arabia or Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The second is United Arab Emirates, and then the other 4 are there. From the historical point of view, Oman is the oldest country among all these countries that we have. Oldest country, Sultanate of Oman. Unfortunately, it is not doing as well, but it has gas in it. So gas powers are there. Qatar is also well known for disproportionate income, per capita income as it is called, mainly because of the economy size and the very, very low number of people, like only less than a million. And therefore you could say that even per capita income of every Qatari resident or in is somewhere around 150 or $160,000 per year. It is the richest from that point of view. And as a result, they also have become increasingly important in geopolitics in terms of accepting as well as encouraging the startups, entrepreneurship, like that. The common factor in all these 6, this thing is the common factor that all of them are trying to diversify their economy from petroleum-based economy to non-petroleum cost. At this particular moment, United Arab Emirates has taken the lead in the sense that it has gone much, much bigger, especially Dubai and other Emirates, where the oil income is very little, I'm talking about 0.5% or 1% of the GDP, where they have gone more for either free zones or it has gone for non-oil related revenues, and very big time they're inviting and encouraging and hosting the entrepreneurships or startups here. I'll just give a very quick rundown on each country so that we have some idea about them. These are the countries which are coming on your screen, which are non-GCC countries. GCC is also a part of what is known as MENA region, Middle East and North Africa. Middle East and North Africa. This is a part of it. MENA is obviously bigger than GCC, and this GCC, as I said, is created as per their protocol, charter, and mission that they have. Of course, that means that they are much more, I would say, similar in terms of custom duties, both inward and outward, or export and import, but they also have many times the coordinated policies towards these things. So the common factor, as I mentioned, one is that they want to diversify their economy into non-oil economy. An excellent example is Saudi Arabia. It is going to be what Dubai is in about 6 to 7 years. So I would say that 2030, Saudi 2030 is what is Dubai now. Right? It is interesting to see what will happen as a result of it in the fate or in the fortunes of the startups here in UAE by that particular time. But right now the picture is not too bad. The picture is of growth, and therefore it's a very interesting thing. As far as the Saudi UAE is concerned, it was established formally in 1981. No, sorry, GCC was set up in 1981. Aim of GCC is to promote coordination between member areas in all fields in order to achieve unity. It is just a dream at this moment, but yes, they have been working on that. Also, Egypt and Syria were also a kind of associates in certain political decisions, especially like peacekeeping force. The tariffs and the trade were eliminated among these member nations. So that is what I meant, that when you enter one member country, in a way you have entered all other 6 member countries. And therefore there is a free trade between them. And they also impose and levy a similar kind of import duty from the goods and services which are coming here. At this particular moment, I must say it is much more understanding based, faith based, and loosely done, not as much as it is in the case of European Union or in the case of this. Other things haven't come, like there is no parliament like GCC and all that was there. So economic union is much more idea than possibly any other thing. If we look into the Saudi Arabia accounts for still very large number of petroleum based revenue. GDP is 45% and 90% of the export earnings are from that. And about 40% of the GDP comes from the private sector. So private sector is going very big way. Bahrain is dependent more and more on Saudi Arabia because it is the next neighboring country to that. And as a result, they both have co-dependent policy among each other. The petroleum product is definitely high, but they also have government revenues as well as 30% of the country's GDP is coming from petroleum sector. Kuwait, 10% of the world's proven oil reserves, very rich, but unfortunately these days you may have noticed also that Kuwait is becoming kind of anti labor as far as external labor is concerned. So in all these 6 nations, a common theme which is running is indigenization. So in the case of Saudi Arabia, Saudization. In the case of Bahrainization, Kuwaitization. Oman is also going for Omanization. So all these things are showing clearly that they would like to have a little bit local content in employment, or they would want all companies to use local population. This is a very important factor for the startups. I'll come back to that with a little bit greater detail later. So as you can see that their GDP is pretty high, and they have both buying power as well as investment power as far as startups are concerned. Kuwait, again, population is low, expectancy is now very high, and GDP is also quite good. So from that point of view, it is moving. If we see the oldest country in the Middle East called Oman, then you can see that in Muscat, which is its capital, again, life expectancy is high, GDP is high, and stuff like that is going on. Literacy is also going up. Qatar, as I mentioned to you, population is less than 1 million. Doha is the capital, and Qatari Riyal is very, very good because of the inflow of things which are happening as far as the country is concerned. The country which I come from, which is, like this United Arab Emirates, these are old figures. Please do not believe them. Now the population is somewhere around close to 10 million, and language obviously is Arabic, Persian, English, Hindi, Urdu, like that. Religion, which perhaps matters, perhaps doesn't matter as far as our present context is concerned. So this is also divided and having its own community of Shia and Sunni. Then Christians, Hindu, all of them, Muslims, all of them are having a freedom of expression, a freedom to worship, a freedom to have faith wherever you want to have. Very soon, Abu Dhabi will have the largest Hindu temple ever made in this particular country. Now that shows that how much tolerance they have for faiths of others. These are the various sisters of United Arab Emirates. Abu Dhabi, which is the biggest emirate and also seat of capital city of UAE, rich in very, very big way. The entrepreneurship, startups, everything, funding is there. Khalifa fund is there, and that Khalifa fund comes from Abu Dhabi. Dubai is extremely good in terms of collaboration, marketing collaboration, exploration of market, like that. Sharjah is a low cost but traditional place where the startups have been there. Sharjah always has the lower cost of living, maybe middle income, maybe a little less than that. And the rulers as well as his team is very much entrepreneurship, startup oriented. Al Quain, the smallest one, is also there, very, very close to where I live. I live in Ras Al Khaimah, which is going to be the first in the Arab world where a casino style of casino from Las Vegas, that company is setting up, a Win company, and which means there will be lots of startups for that particular economy. Nothing to do with the religion, or sometimes it is even challenging that, like that. If you look at all these 7 sisters of UAE, very recently, 2 years ago, they started to synchronize the work clock of UAE with the world. So Friday was no longer a Friday of holiday, but Friday has become work day. And in place of that, Sunday has been declared as the full day. And that was the whole point. They wanted the entrepreneurs to work and be together in a global manner. So they did that. Let's see the results, but so far the thought is very good. And I think that will definitely help the organization. So these 7 emirates are making up the UAE. As far as the UAE and other, are concerned, different emirates have their opportunities for startups. Each and every emirate has that kind of opportunity, like Abu Dhabi. Very, very big on pearling and fishing. They were the main sources, but now they are moving into technical areas also, media, they are accepting media and movie making, Bollywood or Hollywood. Many of those things are there as a part of their drive for startups. Dubai, the second largest of the 7 Emirates, is also in pearling and fishing, and it is a home of tourism, big time tourism, and therefore many startups are around the service aspects of Dubai. Sharjah is famous more for mines, for manufacturing. So therefore, from that point of view, you will see manufacturing startups also. Ajman, the smallest of all the 7, is again going for date trees for the purpose of fishing. So more on, you could say, marine-based products and services. Quoin, it is the second largest small emirate, and it is known again for fishing as well as date farming. Dates are very big business opportunity for the world coming from the UAE. And obviously any startup which helps or joins efforts, then they will find these products to be more acceptable and take it for the validation. So all these things, Russell Kema, where I am at this moment, is abundance of flora, fauna, adventure tourism, the IT, many things are happening. Mostly you could say action tourism, action opportunities for any kind of that. Education is becoming very big here. The companies are also under the ownership of the sheikh. So all those things are very much there. Russell, then there is also Fujairah, which is the only country or rather emirate without any coastline. So as it is, otherwise all 6 emirates, they have one or the other access to the coastline. So from that point of view, you could say that it is based on this fishing, agriculture, like that. So what is a startup? Given this situation, I believe that startup is a new company or a project undertaken by an entrepreneur to seek, develop, and validate a viable and scalable business model. So a startup is an idea, more than an idea. It's also business model. And in this particular model, validity is sought about its both scale as well as its viability. Now that particular viability doesn't have to be short term, it could be medium term, it could be long term. Like for instance, in our case, in India, Paytm is an example of it. Many are like that. We did not turn out even a single penny of money. Policybazaar.com is also from that point of view, not making money. Here, there are also many others, like the biggest private sector real estate company, MR, which also built the tallest building in the world, Burj Khalifa. They also started a startup in the form of Noon for the purpose of online retailing and all. In the beginning, there were hiccups, but now if you look into this, it is becoming a major stream for both name, fame, as well as financial reward. Over a period of time, therefore, substantial equity can be given to the founders of that particular company startup and investors, employees, public, etc. Sometimes, this IPO or sometimes FPO or various other things, or even the what is known as the structured or qualified investment partners could also, QIP could also be done by them. Mostly, I believe the startups at this moment, they are making money through valuation rather than top line or bottom line. Bottom line here refers to the profit and top line refers to the sales. So therefore, all those two things have been taken over to that particular extent by the top line and by the mergers and acquisition. If we look into the startup things availability or viability in the UAE, then here is the ranking of doing business topics in UAE. You can see here it's very, very high in terms of ranking. There is the percentage like the trading across the border is very high, 92%. There are many others, sometimes, or it is 92 ranking. The number one is in terms of getting electricity. Number three is in terms of dealing with construction permits. So as you can see, it is easing the business rules for the companies to come if they are making fresh inroads either through warehouse or sometimes they are only doing the work in collaboration with the local person. Government, especially UAE government, is doing very, very big for the startups. Like in order to attract more startups, UAE government has removed for many services 50%. The 50% of the government services, they are free. Some of the things include even business license. So if some startups from Mumbai, they would like to set up a startup in UAE, there is zero cost of business license. And they can create, and with that particular thing, they can also have a business, bank account opened, everything else. They pay, of course, only for visa, individual visa, but that particular visa is also very low priced when it comes to, because you have also been saved about registration. Otherwise, each and every emirate is encouraging people to come and set up their startup or any other entrepreneurship idea in the emirate because they are not charged. So somebody will say that why are they doing that? Number one, in order to expand their economy, in order to diversify their own economy, and number two, the ripple effect of that. So while you do not pay for license, you obviously pay for using other services or partnerships or business and everything. So therefore, it is a very positive way, even though it is not making money from that thing. Abu Dhabi government has also given subsidy to the startups, and this includes global startups also. For instance, 535 million have been earmarked for a thing like that. So you can get the expense and then subsidized by the government. So as a result, your cost of doing the business will be further less. Of course, you need to pay back, you have to be solid, and you need to create a very good plan for them. If you think that they will give 100% subsidy, yes, they will also give 100% subsidy if it is a smaller, if it is a smaller startup. If you look into the top 10 UAE startups, then the biggest is Careem, which has since been taken over by Uber. There is also Souk, which is taken over by Amazon. Then MPG, Property Finder, Start Play. So many other startups are there, which are either already been snapped by global partners or they are on the verge of being taken over, because each and everything that I have mentioned here in this particular slide is only getting better. In the area where uncertainty, war, everything is happening, this is an excellent idea, UAE from that angle. If you look into the tech startups, which I believe will be the focus of the IIT Alumni Association, then from that point of view also, if you look at these two charts, chart number one is B2B, B2C, C2C mixed, all that is given here. So you can see B2B has been the biggest, 52%, and then B2C 32%. There are specific development areas in UAE which will take care of your startups in technology. The same way, as I said, there are many areas in UK which will not charge you anything to set up and receive a license from them. You can also contact them in terms of partnership, collaboration, in terms of sharing the expertise you have. and they are all in one particular area. So your things will also be moving faster. Retail, SaaS, LAS, all those things are part of their products which they have used. So marketplace, content, high tech, social media, all of them are the sectors in which the startups have been made. These are some of the startups for this year to watch out for, 10 ones whose names are mentioned. And when I say watch out, my goal is not to show off, but also to see that any of these companies are now willing or ready to look for partners or collaborators or co-producers or concurrent producers. Whichever way you want, they are all ready, and you can also come, you can also set up, and they can also come and be your partner in terms of sending what they have with you. So that is why I mentioned the opportunities at both inward and outward. Obviously, it depends upon how much you are invested in it. Right now, mine is mostly within the country. The only one is outside, which is the Indo-Gulf Management Association, because that was born global the moment it was started. Last slide is this. Thank you. And I'm very happy now to handle the questions or any part that you have. So thank you very much, Beva, Venu, and Sunay. I'm ready for any Q&A. I am now stopping the presentation so that things will be. Thank you.
Please.
So the audience, in case you have questions, please feel free to put in the chat and then we can take them as we go through. And Mohanji,
Yes.
I think this has been a very, very sort of detailed overview of, the economy in the Gulf. I know, for example, some of these terms are things that we use. We use MENA, we use GCC countries, or at least some of us have read about them. But I think in the level of detail that you covered, saying which other countries come under the purview, what the economy of these countries are, that has been definitely sort of very insightful. Now, looking at this trend,
the advantage of this GCC is that you don't have to necessarily come through UAE. You can go to Oman also, you can go to Qatar also. And in a way, you are already with one leg in UAE or any other member country. So it's a very, very good thing that we have.
Mohanji, I think that was sort of, hitting the nail on the head of it. I was going to ask the question on the same lines. You had mentioned earlier that, when we enter these countries, for example, within the MENA, there's sort of a very homogenized way in which some of these permits work or the taxation works or the import works or export work. So in terms of those regulations as an entrepreneur, when say somebody looks at a country, now that these sort of other procedures or conditions have been taken care of, what would be the other factors that an entrepreneur should consider before he or she finalizes which country is more suitable?
Okay. From the point of view of connections, networking, I would definitely rate UAE the most, without doubt. Why? Because many events take place. Most of the people land up here. There are also many entertaining and social life here, and many more. These expats are there, the nationalities. So therefore, from that point of view, I will say definitely UAE. From the point of view of cost, if I have to say that, I will say Oman. Oman is lower cost than UAE, but you get the same benefits. As far as the funding opportunities are concerned, as far as in terms of partnership is concerned, I will definitely give a part of UAE, which is Abu Dhabi, as there, and also I will put the Qatar as a country where you can really get lots of investment for your ideas, or even they can even invite you to be there. So from that point, Bahrain is a lot less, I would say, attractive as compared to other countries. But Bahrain has been an excellent place for fintech companies. They are focused mostly on fintech. Like all banks from India, HDFC and others, they have gone to set up the things in Bahrain. It has much more developed infrastructure for fintech related aspects. than Bahrain has from that point. As far as large projects are concerned, I would definitely say that Saudi Arabia is the place to go to at this particular thing. Among all countries, there is one aspect called emiratization or localization. Localization means that when you are setting up something, then they expect local people to be a part of your workforce. And local people, when they are part of your workforce, to some extent, your cost of hiring, cost of retaining, and cost of taking care of them also increases substantially, perhaps in some cases. Their work culture is also different. They are not working like early morning to late in the evenings that you and I can work, but they bring excellent assets in terms of connection with the government, because government is a very, very big buyer of many of the things that you are saying. Government is also very, very big partner. So it is up to you that whether you see them as expense or whether you see them as your strategic partner or consultant from that point of view. If you see them as employee, your mindset will be different. But if you see them as enabler, again, the entire thing will be taken as if that it is a cost of business development. Hope I am answering, that point to you, Ved.
Makes sense, Mohanji. And I think one of the points that you had mentioned earlier, I still remember the impact of that was the change in the timings that people used to work. I remember we used to receive emails on Sundays, and the morning I would come in on Monday, I'd see my inbox filled with a lot of questions. And our questions would have a 3-day lag because they would be off on Fridays and then we'd come on a Monday.
Yes.
So that change,
Yeah.
I believe, has already seen some positive impact on global companies.
Totally. It was not a very easy decision to make, because traditionally when Friday was taken as the day of prayer, day of reflection, all those things, making it a business day, it wasn't easy for many. So therefore, what many Emirates did, that they said, you know what, I'm going to give you 3 days, like Sharjah. Sharjah said that as far as we are concerned, we will give you 2.5 days leave or 3 days and all that. Government services. But beautiful part of all these Emirates is, Venu, that government is becoming less of a government and more as an enabler. It is not becoming an employment agency for locals. It is becoming an enabler for talent creation, for opportunities creation. And they do not unnecessarily come into play to protect some community here or there. In fact, they have become much, much more business friendly from that point of view.
Got it, Mohanji. Umesh, did you have any question? I see you raised your hand earlier.
He has put in the chat.
It's put in the chat.
Yeah.
Do you want to take it, Vaibhav?
Yeah, please. So he's asking, Umesh is there, he's asking if a business in India decides to collaborate with a GCC-based business via JV, what benefits may be available? That is what he wants to know.
Number one benefit is that you will have access to the global market and global buyers and global sellers immediately, because they are all located in Dubai. Like, just to give you one example, that if you wish to do some deal relating to ICC, Indian Cricket Board, then that is there in Dubai. Therefore, you can do those kind of things better. Number two, taxation is not there. It is zero income tax for the people. So your payment systems and others can also be streamlined from that point of view. As far as JV is concerned, you can have somebody else's expertise, even capital also. So it is almost like having a local person there while you are not there. So I will definitely recommend this JV route as one of the best routes for entering in terms of startups. Definitely. They will be happy. They will be bringing you both customers, collaborators, as well as funding opportunities.
Thank you, Mohanji. Sonia, would you like to take another question from the chat? Mukund is asking some question.
No, actually, I can't see any question here in the chat. I don't know if it's a settings thing or whether I'm not an admin, but yeah, I can't see any question.
That's all right. You can even ask questions on their behalf. You don't have to.
Let me take.
So Mukund is our forum. It's totally okay.
Yeah, Mukund is asking. So His question is that e-waste is a growing problem which needs to be addressed. So are there any opportunities to set up a startup in this field? And what are the chances of getting good investment for such capital-centric area?
I will answer the second part very, very quickly, because that is what I have seen. In terms of chances of getting partners, collaborators, investors, angel investors, very, very high. Because these people will, but then the thing is that they are much, much more inclined to be with the people when they are physically there. Digitally, it becomes a little bit difficult for them. Still, the mindset is the same. But as far as the first thing is concerned, it is much easier than you think. Because there are many companies here who will do the work for you. You don't have to run around for paperwork, for documentation work, for anything, and they can do that. There are certain customer service departments of each and every free zone that they do it for you. Like when I set up my company, my startup in Abu Dhabi, all I required was 1 day and zero cost I paid. Zero cost, both for license as well as for getting the license. In other words, even the paperwork was done by them. Few emails and it was done.
Thank you, Mohanji. Sonia, would you have any questions from your end to ask?
No, I don't have any questions now.
All right. So, Mohanji,
I would say one more thing, Vaibhav, if that is okay with you. I will be most happy if you would like to create an opportunity for the startups to come here as a delegation, as a business visit. Not just to set up the things, but even to attract people from here to their businesses, that outward opportunity there. So when they are here, when they meet, I will be very happy to set up the meetings for them with the local chamber of commerce, with the angel investors, all them. And that would be a very good idea from setting up a business quickly.
No, that is very excellent, Mohanji, that you mentioned it. So actually, we were also thinking of a platform where mentors like you can be there and give this kind of advice to young entrepreneurs, because we never know, who would love to explore, Middle East market or Gulf market, because there are entrepreneurs who would love to do that. It's just that because they don't have idea, how to begin or how to get in touch with a person like you. So they are not able to do it. And that's the whole point of talk like this or platform like this.
Consider me as one of the enablers or facilitators of your own mission. Right. I don't want to plug any of the things that I have. I just want to say that we are open to help your people referred. So, see us as that partner, because as you can very well imagine, money or service or revenue from them for these services is far from my mind. For my mind is that if my country compatriots can get some benefits from this amazing region, I think I will be more than happy from that point of view.
Yeah. So Mohanji, I had one question. So what about non-profits? So what do you think? For example, someone wants to establish a non-profit, for example, in Dubai, is they still do have those kind of benefits, or they don't have?
Yes, probably Dubai has the only this free zone for what is called humanitarian free zone. So this humanitarian free zone is next to the DWC, Dubai World Center, where there is a logistics city and humanitarian city. In that particular city, only organizations like Dubai Care or like Red Cross or any of those things, they are there. And only for non-profit. So non-profit is as much, in fact, they love it. The only thing they are worried about is that this should not become a front for some political mission, or where real mission is being camouflaged in the form of some kind of social mission, and where the money laundering is being done for purposes, because they don't want these kind of trouble at any point of time.
Yeah, it can be political, it can be religious. Also, a lot of people fear
Exactly,
religion.
exactly.
Yeah, that
I
is
mean,
that is
like,
totally
I,
true.
I mean, I,
Yeah,
I shouldn't use the term, but
yeah,
suppose
yeah,
somebody
true,
is
true.
taking money and sending it to Hamas or some other thing, then they become very suspicious. They
Yeah.
also become very, very unhappy if somebody is collecting money without license, for a social purpose, that kind of.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yes, social things, very, very happy. They will be, in fact, many of them will be even join your board also, because for them it is nothing but CSR.
Yeah, perfect, perfect. So anyone else has any other questions? So I think we are almost in time, by the way. And yeah, if no one is having other questions, maybe Venu, you can proceed with your final comments and vote of
I'm
thanks.
very happy and I apologize for a little late start. As I said,
No
my
issue.
class was to end at 7 o'clock, but
Yeah.
and it is 20 minutes drive from college to home.
Yeah.
So
True.
I left the class at 6:30, 6:35.
Yeah,
But my
I totally
apologies.
understand.
Next time it won't happen. I'll
No
make sure.
no issue. No issues, Mohanty. Yeah, Venu, please proceed. Yeah.
Sure, thanks, Vaibhav. And Monji, like in all fairness, even though it was a shorter duration, it has been truly enriching, as I mentioned earlier. Like a lot of these, definitely a lot of people don't know. Even speaking of startup, the first thing that you think of, say, especially in the Asia side, is maybe Singapore. But I think now Middle East establishing sort of its dominance and expanding is always a welcoming sign. So a lot of people who watch these TG talks, they usually watch it later on as well. And we get a lot of people who watch it, say, in the future as a revision. Some of us at least look at it and be like, oh, yes, that was a good idea, which I forgot. So I'm sure facts like Abu Dhabi having a 535 million budget or giving people, that 100%.
Khalifa Fund is just ready, standing by. And in fact, one very good thing we knew about us is that we have a very good reputation capital here. They have very good opinion about us.
That
True, Mohanji. I think that sort of capitalization is something that a lot of people are not aware of, which I believe as a part of this session, we talk about ease of doing business, which is a term that a lot of people know, but some of these practical aspects like funds being available, people getting that 2-year concession or say 50% concession and some of these other advantages, of viewing local people as, means to access the market rather than a cost center. I think a lot of those details that you went through, I think are important considerations when somebody looks at a market, even deciding, for example, whether it's a fintech startup or, say a mining based startup, which is already in the market. I think a lot of those important details people will gather from this sort of a session. So I think, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. And I know, as Weber mentioned, we will definitely connect on other sort of settings as well. So I believe I told this to Weber and I keep telling him that he has a knack and talent of finding talented people. So
I
each
do
session.
not know. In my case, he might have gone wrong.
No, not at all. No. Thanks a lot.
Thank you,
Venu.
Monji.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Venu. So final words from my end as well, Monji. It was fantastic. I think I think a lot of more people will connect with you because this is the link which I will post in the groups as well, and I think they may want to be the part of IGMA as well. And obviously, I'm the ambassador of IGMA as well, so that is also my duty to do that. But otherwise, also, a lot of people may reach out to you for these kind of collaborations, or because they may see you as an enabler, as you were mentioning. And as per your availability, as per your interest, you may decide to move forward with it. So thanks a lot for your time, and thanks a lot for accepting and for this great talk. Yeah.
Thank you for this opportunity. It's a great organization, it's a great mission, and you are doing something very big for IIT. IIT Mumbai will be very thankful to you, and really very nice.